Down the Rock Island Line, she's a mighty good road. Rock Island Line, it's a road to ride. Rock Island Line, it's a mighty good road. Well, if you ride, you got to ride it like you find it. Get your ticket at the station for the Rock Island Line.
We need to go ahead and select this group and release the group so we have the individual pieces, and then we'll be placing controls approximately here. And I'll go ahead and we'll go into the railroad engineering, see if we can find what we're looking for. And what we want is a signal mast. We'll set this here. And then we want to go ahead and go into the extra and go to the controls. And we want three-way switches. And we'll go ahead and we'll place 3 of them. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to zoom in. And by clicking on one and going to edit and release group, we basically break this down into its individual components, and we've moved a piece out. We're changing the color on it to a bright red, and we'll move this over to stand close to the track. Check the dimensions. We need to turn this just a touch so that it's fairly close to being parallel but facing slightly towards the track. And then we'll go ahead and we'll take the first track piece. Okay, now we've got all 3 switches positioned where we want them. And now we need to go ahead and put some lights on there. I've gone ahead and rearranged the switches a little bit, and I swapped out lights for red-green lights. I've also added labels for each switch position, so now we have the switch tree ready to program. Now that we've got the switch tree complete, I'm going to start setting up the switches that are on the ground to match the switches in the switch tree, and then start entering the programming for it in the event manager. There's a lot of programming that goes into this, and I will be showing you later all of the programming that goes into the switch tree. Each position of the red, green, and blue switches on the tree has a corresponding position on the ground switches. We're looking at the programming now for each position, and there's one for each position there, and then there's a set of controls for each position for the lights. When all this is done, you can go ahead and flip the switch, the light comes on. If you flip to the other side, the light goes out. And the same thing for the green switch and for the blue switch. And now that we've got the switch all set and programmed, we're going to go ahead in a minute and we'll be scrolling over to the other side of the tracks and using the ramp that comes down from the hidden yard, we'll go ahead and we'll start assembling the first train. Now we'll go ahead and we'll be going to railroad to track vehicles and steam locomotives. We're going to take this green locomotive and pull it up onto the layout, and then we'll go ahead and we'll pick the matching cars that go with it. So let's go ahead and raise that up so it's on the track, and then we'll go ahead and we'll get the tender car that hauls the coal for it. We'll put that over here and bring it up onto the track. Link the two together, pull forward, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to go. Now there are two sets of parts for these trains. They're identical, so we'll use the ones we've already got. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to go up, and we'll go to passenger cars, two axle passenger cars, and there are a set of cars that go with this train. This is a second class, first class, and we'll go ahead and we'll pull a few of these up onto the track and assemble them. And we've gone ahead and put those all up on the track. Now we're in the viewing inside the locomotive of the train that we just built. We'll increase the speed a little bit, and then in a second we'll go ahead and we'll go down to the curve that approaches the switching, and we'll go ahead and we'll stop when we pull up to the signal tree. Now, the disadvantage to the view from inside the locomotive is that you cannot click on anything in view, like you can't click on the switch track here, so you can't control anything from inside this locomotive. You can pan the view, but you can't click on anything. So we'll go ahead and we'll exit that. We'll pull up a camera and we'll stick the camera up on top of the locomotive and adjust the position so that it's where we want it. And then we'll go ahead and we'll add the camera, the controls, and we'll be adding several cameras and several controls. These allow you to click on the various things. Okay, we're looking at the forward-facing camera on the Site C train, and I've gone ahead and placed controls for the cameras and the throttle for the engine for the speed, and a stop button. I've also gone ahead and placed a sign up here so you can tell which train it is we're looking at. These switches have all been set properly, and we'll go ahead and we'll start by showing you the rear camera. Now all the cameras, with the exception of the front camera, are all on timers, and as you can see there is a second train behind you. We'll go ahead and we'll take a look now at the side camera, and that is for looking out the side. The other side camera, the stop button for stopping the train, the throttle control, and then a couple of passenger cameras back and front. These look inside one of the cars, and I've placed several passengers. Inside one of the cars. And that one's okay. We need to go ahead and adjust the back camera just a touch. We'll do that a bit later. I'm going to go ahead and set this up, and toward the end of the appropriate track I have gone ahead and placed a stop track.